Good evening, everybody, and welcome back to Weather Not. I'm your host, Hannah Evans.
I'm your forecaster, Mike Susko.
So, Mike, we're still experiencing those fall-like temperatures, but I see we have a dreary weekend coming up.
Yes, unfortunately, it's not going to be like last weekend where we had the sunshine and the fall temperatures. We will still have the fall temperatures, but as you mentioned, we might have some rain to contend with.
And I love that season change, but I hate cold-like temperatures.
Unfortunately, I can't help you out there right now, but who knows? We might get another warm spell. It's not too late to get those.
Hopefully. So on tonight's episode of Weather Not, we have a couple of nature and news topics. One on some weather terms for the winter you may not be familiar with. Another one on salt lakes on Mars. And we also have a feature on how Nittanyville is affected by the weather by Matt Yarosewick. And now here's Nature in the News. You may have been hearing some interesting weather terms that you do not know the meaning to. I'm going to break down some terms that I find interesting. The first term is called thundersnow. This is used when it is snowing, but also a thunderstorm. Thunder and lightning occur while it is snowing. Another term is bomb cyclone, and this happens when a low pressure system drops rapidly, resulting in intense conditions such as snow, wind, and ice. Bomb cyclones can be particularly dangerous and result in life-threatening conditions. The last term is polar vortex, and this is an area of low pressure that is in the polar regions. Sometimes this system in the Arctic can break off and move south, bringing the cold Arctic air along. These terms will become prevalent in the news this winter, and it is valuable to learn these terms now.
This past Sunday, strong storms moved through Dallas, Texas, killing 4 people. Storms fired up ahead of a cold front that was moving across the area and dropped a tornado just north of Dallas. Several buildings sustained damage as the tornado carved its path through the city's suburbs, and the local National Weather Service office rated the tornado an EF3 out of 5. Believe it or not, October is the third most active tornado month climatologically for the Dallas area, with only April and May having more confirmed tornadoes since 1880. Another reason these storms made national headlines, however, is a local station in Dallas delayed cutting into the Cowboys game against the Eagles for 6 minutes, while the tornado warning was issued. That station has since issued a statement apologizing for the delay coverage of the storm.
During the Ice Age, which was 100,000 to 15,000 years ago, mammoths were widespread from Spain to Alaska. During global warming, which started happening about 15,000 years ago, their habitat became smaller and smaller. They only survived another 7,000 years after that. Researchers have recently looked into the extinction of woolly mammoths and have discovered that their extinction was due to their environmental changes. But the big question is, why did they die so suddenly? The researchers suspect that it could have been an extreme weather event such as icing, preventing them from finding enough food. Since the population was already weakened by global warming beginning to happen, this event could have led to a dramatic decline and eventually extinction from starvation.
A new study in the Nature Geoscience Journal reveals salt lakes on the planet Mars. An international team of scientists made the discovery using data from the NASA Curiosity rover. It is believed that the red planet once had liquid water on its surface just like Earth. Similar to Earth, Mars has a magnetic field which normally helps to protect the planet's atmosphere from the sun's solar wind. Billion years ago, however, Mars' magnetic field weakened and the solar wind began to destroy its atmosphere. This made it difficult for liquid water to remain on the Martian surface and the planet began to dry up. However, as the water left, salt ponds formed in the lakes. Since salt does not evaporate with water, it was left behind and remained there for all this time. Well, last weekend was beautiful with lots of sunshine and those cooler temperatures. We're still going to have those fall-like temperatures, but I don't think we're going to have as much sunshine. Let's head over to those surface maps for Friday. We see we have a cold front that's draped across northwestern Pennsylvania, bringing some showers to Erie and the other parts of northwestern Pennsylvania. This front will push through late in the day on Friday, but here in State College and Center County, we will see mostly cloudy skies because as that storm system pushes through over the mountains, it will begin to weaken and eventually die off. But then on Saturday, we will see some mostly cloudy skies ahead of our next weather maker, which will be coming from the southwest, bring some showers late into the day on Saturday, and then Sunday, unfortunately, it looks like it's going to be an all-day washout. We have a couple things going on here. A high pressure over Nova Scotia is going to bring rain into New England and northeastern Pennsylvania, but here in central Pennsylvania, a warm front is going to be draped across our area, and that's going to help bring some rain for us here, and unfortunately, it looks like it'll be all day. As far as the numbers are concerned, Friday right around average at 60 degrees, mostly cloudy skies. Again, I think those rain showers will remain to the west of us here in State College. On Friday night, we will see some patchy fogs as temperatures and dew point come together around the 40-degree mark. But so if you're heading out for any high school football games Friday night, make sure to take a jacket because you will be around 50 degrees around that time, and when you wake up Saturday morning in the low 40s. But then later in the day on Saturday, heating up to the mid-50s, we will have some afternoon rain showers to contend with, but I do think we'll get a few peaks of sunshine earlier in the day. And then again on Sunday, unfortunately, it will be a washout all day. Not the best day to go outside with rain likely from morning to evening, but temperatures will be in the low 60s. Coming up next, Matt Yarosewick has a feature on how Nittanyville is impacted by the weather.
Football is a tradition here in Happy Valley. Over 100,000 fans come streaming into Beaver Stadium on 7 Saturdays each fall. Blue and white can be seen all around the valley during a football weekend here at Penn State, and the #1 student section in the country comes out in full force. There is, however, another tradition each game week that takes place just outside of Gate A at Beaver Stadium. Penn State students camp out right here at Gate A, getting ready for kickoff each Saturday. This campground is called Nittanyville. Now, being outside during the week, weather definitely does have an impact on the students and the festivities planned here each night. So I paid Nittanyville a visit to see more about Nittanyville and just what kind of weather impacts them right here at Gate A. To learn more, I had the pleasure of speaking with Nittanyville's president, Cameron Panase. As a senior, Cameron has been camping with Nittanyville for 4 seasons and has experienced all sorts of weather while camping outside of Gate A. Before we got into weather, Cameron explained a little bit more about what Nittanyville is.
So Nittanyville is a tent city which camps outside of Beaver Stadium before every single home game. So we're out here every single game, no matter the weather or circumstances. We're out here all the time trying to support the players and the team.
The weather is always in play when you're camping outside, especially in central Pennsylvania. Anyone that knows and loves football knows the season begins warm, but usually doesn't end without temperatures dropping drastically.
The weather that impacts us the most is definitely the cold. So when we get towards the end of the season, we have to be really careful when temperatures are dipping towards the low 30s. Kids can't be out here when it's under 32 degrees, so we have to really keep an eye on that, especially later on in the season.
Freezing temperatures are one of the main causes of cancellations of Nittanyville. Another would seemingly be rain, but not at this university.
Rain really doesn't have an impact. The only impact when it rains is thunderstorms. There's videos of us out here playing wiffle ball in the pouring down rain from a couple weeks ago.
The only cancellation due to rain has been a few thunderstorms around the beginning of the season. Cameron also mentioned that snow has never been dealt with, but last year sleet made for an interesting night before the Iowa game. The winds were a big story this past week, interrupting the week-long campout leading up to Penn State's whiteout primetime showdown with Michigan.
We set up camp Monday, and yesterday I got a call around 5 o'clock saying that wind gusts were going to be around the 35-mile-per-hour range last night. So we were informed that we had to tear down immediately, get everything away from the stadium, and they didn't want tents blowing out in the street or anything.
Winds were still gusting to about 20 miles per hour when they set back up on Thursday night. Tents were swaying in the breeze all throughout the night. After setup, the 400-plus students were back for a fun-filled night. I stayed to talk with a few Penn State students about how the weather affects them while camping at Nittanyville.
So for warm weather, we don't really have to worry too much about it, but for rain and cold weather, we have to bring a lot of extra gear, blankets and things like that.
The blankets were a must this past week with wind chills in the low 40s overnight. Sheila Maroney had the same thoughts about the cold weather.
When it gets really cold, it's good to bring tons of layers and gloves, scarves, anything. It's even though it's just still October, it's gonna get way colder at night than it will be during the day.
The consensus among Sheila and Athena was warmer weather always wins.
My favorite weather to camp in is definitely warm weather and weather without too much wind, because otherwise I'll end up chasing my tent down. Yeah.
No tents were being chased down, but students were excited for Whiteout Week and all that Nittanyville has to offer, especially those front row seats for the biggest game of the year here at home.
I love when the team comes, we get to see the team and Coach Franklin, but of course being front row in Beaver Stadium for the Whiteout is just unbeatable.
Weather always has and always will play a role in this weekly tradition during football season here at Penn State. But this won't keep students from enjoying Nittanyville and all it has to offer. Nittanyville's next and last campout this season will be during the second week of November before the Nittany Lions take on Indiana here in Happy Valley. Students will again brave the ever-changing weather conditions here in central Pennsylvania for the best seats in Beaver Stadium. For Weather or Not, I'm Matt Yarosewick.
And now for your extended forecast. This weekend looks to be a bit wet and dreary, but we do have drier weather for the work week. Looking at your weekend recap for Friday, 60 degrees for our high, mostly cloudy skies, and it looks like Friday will be the best of this weekend because Saturday we have the afternoon showers moving in. Temperatures will be dropping into the mid-50s, so if you have any outdoor plans for Saturday, make sure you're doing it in the morning because it will be drier outside. And then Sunday, unfortunately, it looks like it's going to be a washout all day with temperatures in the low 60s, but rain all day on Sunday. Now, the good news is for Monday, as we head out for another work week, we will be drying out. Temperatures right around that average, around 60 degrees for our Monday. Tuesday, they drop a little bit below average, but still dry. Same for Wednesday, but look at that. Temperatures drop near 50 degrees. It is that time of year where we start seeing the low 50s and upper 40s for highs, and it looks like it'll be continuing not only on Wednesday, but also for Halloween next Thursday and Friday, but we will be staying dry. But like I said, unfortunately, it looks like we'll be seeing a cool and crisp end to the month of October here, Hannah.
So I see we have those lower temperatures next weekend, but thank God it is not going to be snowing.
Yes, it is a little too early for snow.
It is a little too early. I remember going trick-or-treating when I was little and it was snowing.
Ooh.
Which takes us into our whiz quiz question, which is how many years on record has it snowed on Halloween at State College? Was it A, 1, B, 4, C, 7, or D, 9? And the answer is D. 9 years on record it has snowed on Halloween in State College. So most of those times it was just trace amounts of snow. But in 2002 it was actually 1.3 inches of snow.
Ooh, that's a little too early.
Little too much.
Here in State College. Usually around mid-November is when we start seeing that first
around
flake
Thanksgiving.
Flying. Yes, that's okay.
That's acceptable for me. Well, that's all the time we have for tonight on Weather or Not. I'm your host, Hannah Evans.
And I'm your forecaster, Mike Susko.
Have a nice night, everyone.